Hey everybody and welcome to the channel. My name is Ash and today I'm doing a quick review for Ryan's Rescue Squad on Xbox. Let's take a look. So, Ryan's Rescue Squad is a fun platforming game for kids, and it sees Ryan from Ryan's World, the YouTube channel, the YouTube sensation that my kids are always watching, and his friends have been kidnapped by Dark Titan, Robo Combo and Packrat, and he has to go on an adventure to save them. Now, he set out on a quest through a variety of different environments, worlds and levels, defeating bosses to save your friends. Now, the game plays very similar to sort of classic platforming games. It reminds me of things like Donkey Kong Country, Crash Bandicoot and Mario. However, it is more like toned down, aimed at kids. Now, each world, and there are 4 worlds, there are Toys, Pirates, Space and Prehistoric. Each contain 5 levels to work through, and you will visit these worlds through a warp room, very reminiscent of things like Crash Bandicoot. And once you're in these levels, you will play through them from the beginning to get to the end. Now, in these levels, there are enemies to defeat and avoid, there are platforming sections to get through, and there are a variety of collectibles. There are Ryan's coins, there are also the Ryan's surprise eggs, and there are sun tokens to collect, basically. Now, the mystery eggs, the surprise eggs, they basically unlock new customization options for you to buy for your characters, hats, tops, bottoms, etc. And the sunshine tokens are used as sort of like money to buy them. Now, the game itself can be played solo or with a friend in 2-player. And once you've completed those 5 missions, you also unlock a mini-game in each of the areas. And they vary from the floor is lava, where you sort of try not to fall in the fire. There's a collect all the coins, where you're trying to shoot the coins. And a sort of spaceship-flying level. Now, once you've completed the mini-game and the levels, there are also bosses on each of the worlds. And you beat the boss, and then you can move on to the next world. Now, the bosses play very much sort of like Sonic the Hedgehog to me, whereas you have a boss, it does like its own pattern of movement and attacks, and then you're able to attack it very much like Robotnik when he was like trying to drill at you or hit you with his like swinging ball and stuff like that. You wait, and then you attack them when they finished doing their attack pattern. Now, after you've done that, you will unlock more of Ryan's friends by saving them. So in the end, you can play as Ryan, Combo Panda, Alpha Lexa, or Gus the Gummy Gator, and you can play across all of the levels with them, even ones you've already completed, once you've unlocked them. So, what do we think to Ryan's Rescue Squad? Honestly, I had a lot of fun playing it with my 2 kids. We were taking it in turns, playing it on co-op and single player. They like that you can do like the drop-in, drop-out sort of co-op on levels. So one level you can play 2-player, one level you can play 1-player, and you can switch between the characters. One thing they didn't like was the double jump. They didn't like how it plays. You basically have to hold down the jump and then double jump again right at the end of the jump to be able to make some of the bigger jumps, and they just couldn't get their heads around it. It isn't ideal. It could have been a little easier. The game itself, like I say, is easy enough to play. It's not extremely difficult. Some of the platforming may be more challenging for younger kids, but the game features all of the voices and the characters from the YouTube channel, so my kids who love the show really enjoyed it. There's plenty of collectibles to find, while not super difficult to miss. Sometimes you may miss 1 or 2, or kids might, and there's reason to go back and replay some of these levels to find everything. Now, the game itself isn't super long. Like I say, you can complete it within 4 hours. It is a pretty easy 1000 gamer score in sort of that it's straightforward. You just have to sort of finish the game and stuff like that. And gameplay-wise, I love that the game takes sort of inspiration, shall I say, from sort of classic platformers. So there's Donkey Kong Country style barrel shooting in the Pirates world. There's an underwater section which very much reminds me of Donkey Kong Country and Crash Bandicoot 3 underwater. You've got warp rooms very reminiscent of Crash Bandicoot 2, and just in general it plays very much like sort of a kid-friendly Mario with lots of different collectibles and stuff like that. Now, there are also sort of power-ups to find as well during the levels, which give you invulnerability, refill your health, and there's also boxes you break that give you this like sludge that you can throw at things to break blocks to get through to sort of more secret areas to find some of the hidden items, basically. Now, the game isn't overly difficult, and your kids will probably enjoy this at all ages if they're fans of Ryan. It's one of those games you don't really need to hold their hand on, they can play it on their own. The only issue I would say is the double jump is a bit iffy, and it could do with like a patch or something just to make it easier. Now, overall, really fun little game. I like that they basically took the best bits, or like classic bits from classic games, and made like a kid version of them. It works well, and I cannot complain at it. My kids overall really enjoyed this. Like I say, the worst thing I could say, other than the jump, and it's not a major issue, but to me it could have been done better, was the co-op aspect. So in the co-op, the second player just sort of follows along. They can attack enemies, they can collect things, but if the first player runs too far ahead, they lose sight of the second player, and then the second player eventually teleports towards them. It basically is like Tails in Sonic 2, where Tails is just along for the ride and they don't do a great deal, which is a shame, but little kids don't mind it too much. But in some of the platforming sections, my kids were starting to squabble a little bit, having to sort of jump over each other and stuff like that. Overall, Ryan's Rescue Squad isn't a bad little platformer for kids. It features a variety of different levels, different abilities, and different characters to play with. The overall game time, depending on your skill level, will be around 4 hours. However, like I say, if you want a full completion, you can get it in 4 hours. However, obviously, kids will probably get more time out of it just by going back and replaying the levels, and obviously not having the sort of same skills as a fully grown adult. If your kids like Ryan, all of their sort of classics are here, all of the main characters are here, the voice acting's here. The game features easy platforming, sort of like my first platformer, with a variety of different levels, abilities, and also mini-games and boss fights to keep the kids entertained. Yeah, it's not perfect. The double jump is a bit iffy, in my opinion, and the co-op is lacking because it feels very much like Sonic 2, where the second player doesn't really do anything, they're just along for the ride. But there is a whole host of things to keep the kids entertained here. It's priced at $34.99. It's playable on Xbox One and Xbox Series X and S, and it's available on other platforms including PC and other consoles. It's optimised for Xbox Series X and S with 4K resolution and 60 FPS, and it does support smart delivery as well, so there's a bit of everything in there. You'll get the best version depending on which console you're playing on. But this all depends on sort of how sort of far along you are with your skill level in platformers. For younger kids, they'll probably enjoy it, bar the iffy double jump. And other than that, like I say, there's plenty of variety in the different environments as well. It's just a little short, like I say, at 4 hours to obviously keep a sort of grown sort of adult entertained much longer than that. But check it out, it's available right now, and check out our other reviews for all the other outright games we've covered as well. There's plenty of them on the channel, as we've been lucky enough to be ambassadors over the Christmas period, and we've got even more videos coming very soon. Well then that, guys, see you soon.